Hey, you want some cool merch? Then head down to my Teespring store where all these designs are made by me, ranging from mugs, hoodies and t-shirts, and even from catchy slogans that I have made myself. Oh yeah, some tasty stuff. Get it all today. Oh, how you doing that, guys? I'm TheOracle, and welcome to Reading Light Novels. So we're starting this series off now. Also, I started a new series recently with reading comics because I've had a good comic website where like, slow down there. Take it easy, pal. I started a new reading comics playlist, and I've had a place to do online comic reading like X-Men, Hellboy and stuff like that, so I'll probably do that in the future. Also, you probably know by the title, not as reading light novels, I'm doing High School DxD as a bit too close to the viewer did and kind of a bit of variety. So nope, we're not doing that. We're doing Rising Head to the Seal Hero, baby. Play it. Anyway, so yes, rather than Steel Hero, I have watched all this series, so I'll try to do it in their voices, or my own voices, but I'll try doing their voices as I can remember them. I haven't watched this since like the game out, so you know, but it's a good anime. Rafta's the only good girl, probably. They're saying. Now, Fuming Twani and unclassified otaku has spent these days on games and mangas, finally finds himself summoned to a parallel universe. He discovers he's one of the 4 heroes equipped with a legendary weapon and tasked with saving the world from destruction. As the Shield Hero, the weakest of the heroes, as it's not as it seems, Nafumi is soon alone, penniless and betrayed. So let's get into this land. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Home. Chapter 1's there though. What's Chapter 1? Okay. Chapter 1. A Royal Summons. Huh? I've gone to the library to do a bit of reading. My name is Nafumi Etatwani, and I'm a sophomore in college. Party time! I'm also aware that I'm more of a nerd than the rest of my classmates. You're in Japan now, I mean, most of you are probably nerds, so don't worry about it. Ever since I became first interested in video games and anime and other otaku pastimes, again, you're in Japan, so in Japan love their games, and so does Korea. I give them more time of their own than my actual studies. Well, that's a problem. My parents know this about me, and so they gave me up early on. Ah, what comes to parents? Didn't hear that in the original anime. I heard about his brothers on drugs, that's it, you know. Screw those parents. Instead they sent my brother to a famous prep school in an effort to secure his future, but the pressure was too much for him. He got worn out with all the studying and turned into a troubled teen. Yeah. Doing the glue, baby. Oh, that's a nice glue. Dyeing his hair and letting obscenities around the house. I don't see the problem with that, to be honest. For a little while, the whole family was miserable. Little miserable family. But then the saviour appeared. It's Superman. But no, appeared to save the day. Me. He was always scolding and mouthing off to everyone, but you did his plan up my sleeve. I suggested he try playing a game, a popular one. It was a dating simulator. I don't think that was the problem, unless he had a small PP, but, you know, the kind where you go on dates with cute girls. Okay. What the hell? Just try it. You don't have to commit to liking it. I said that before I knew the real reason he had turned into such a punk. When we were growing up, our parents always had to give me whatever I asked for, but I had never received the same treatment. He wanted the freedom I always have. I'm a specialist when it comes to having fun though. So he was interested in the game, I suggested, if only because I knew I was such an authority on fun. I am the authority on fun now. Diggle with the clown. Diggle with the clown. Or get jiggy with the clown. Get jiggy with the clown. Yeah. He told me this himself later on down the line. I'll just skip right to the end. There's one more otaku in the world now. Hooray! If you walked into his room now, you'll see posters of figurines for the very same game I introduced him to. Not only that, but he also redecorated himself to his studies, got into a great school and is planning to top of his class. Very good, very good. My parents are so happy about my invention that they spoiled me even more as a result, so I am currently leading a very free life as a college student. So they like you now because you hate your brother. His parents are still cunts though, just saying. So, that was a bit of digression. I've gone to the library to do a bit of reading. My parents are giving me an allowance of 10,000 yen every month. I don't know what 10,000 yen in Japan is. I assume it's like 10,000 every month, but probably like 500 every, I don't know. Leave it in the comments because I don't know yen, I only know dollars probably and probably euros. To a certain extent. I only know pounds, pounds are best, you know. I'm in this. I got like the pounding, pounding. Yeah. The naughty games and magazines, like novels and manga, yeah, I'll go well, 10,000 yen a month for all those naughty magazines. All those Azure Lane girls can look at. Oh yeah. Then my friends and I go eat up that allowance pretty quickly. I have a part-time job that brings in about 50,000 yen a month. Yes, I don't know what the money is there, but you know, 50,000 yen sounds a lot probably. Which is great, but the various festivals that take part in during the summer and winter, mums use all that money as well. How much festivals do you go to, dude? My brother is not the sort of person to go out of his way to participate in a festival unless it's the drugs, man. But my pet pirates. Ah, we are the pirates. We have our children. The parents rent a room for us near the festival grounds to encourage his participation. Well, whatever, they have their own lives to live, so they can't give me all that much money. But usually the better use of them naughty magazines and festivals. And then they try to help cover tuition and rent, so that's plenty. So whenever I need to save money, then I don't have all that much. I go to used bookstores or to the library to read. If I have free time, I like to play games online, don't be all. But if you really want to be really good at them, so there's no end to end, what? But if you really want to be good at them, there's no end to how much time you can sink into a character. Cyberpunk in December 10th. That's probably going to get delayed again, Cyberpunk, but we'll see. Besides, I consider myself a jack of all trades. The jack of all trades. What's that thing with Bruce Campbell? Jack of all trades? I don't know. I'm not really that type of invest all my time into one particular thing. Hey, just like me, I do all kinds of stuff. I do horror stories, probably do music in the future, I do this, you know, everything. That, and even when I do get into a game, I don't really care about leveling up my character. Okay. It does end up being as if I'm gathering money in the virtual world. Even as I'm writing these words, I have characters and items I collect up for sale. Interesting. See why you like money in writing this here now. Me. Okay, so I was there in the library when all this craziness started. So, wanna know how the story started? Just right here. Good old Emperor's New Groove. That's pause. I was looking on the old bookshelf in the corner that was dedicated to fantasy novels. I think that fantasy has a history at least, a long recorded from human history. I mean, if you really think about it, even the Bible is a fantasy novel. Oh! Say that the Christians, it is fantasy fiction. Ooh. Ouch, ouch. Ooh. He owns you there, big boys. Or small boys. The records of the 4 holy weapons. This really old looking book just fell off the shelf. Pardon me. Okay. The title was pretty hard to make out, and I guess whatever had been reading it last hadn't taken the time to put it back securely. Whatever figuring it out was probably destiny. I brought it back to the table, sat down and opened it. Flip, 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 flip. Sound like a politician, don't I? It's the kind of book that starts off by telling you about the fantasy world itself. To sum it up, it seemed to be a different world with one with a apocalyptic prophecy to worry about. The prophecy said that many waves of great destruction would wash over the world till nothing was left. To starve off disaster and escape destruction, the people would call for heroes from another world to come and save them, or something like that. Another world to save us. Well, the idea seems pretty cliche now. Was this a light novel too, or is this a novel you just found? Anyway. But something about the book being bent out about felt ironically fresh. So the 4 heroes each possessed a weapon: sword, spear, bow, shield. Sean Connery. I started to wince at the content. I mean, when you think about it, yes, shield is not in the weapon, honestly, at all. Anyway, I started to skim ahead. The 4 of them went on a journey to try and gather strength to protect themselves or stop the prophesied destruction of the world. My head jerked. Well, that's finished already. It's a quick chapter. Call that a chapter? Well, there's a light now, waiting that light. Jesus! My head jerked. I nearly fallen asleep in my seat. It was all too much. I was yawning and the book was all so old-fashioned. You zoomer. Zoomer. I mean, there was no cute heroines at all. Well, there would be soon. The only girl was the princess, and she was horrible because she was manipulative and possessed with the heroes. Wait a minute, if you already know there was a princess that was manipulative and possessed, why did you go with her in the first place? Or did you not know she was a bit... he didn't know, did he? She kept casting flirtatious glances at all and put them all against each other. Well, you already know who that is, don't you? Bit old, or ho, or bitch, or either or really. I wish you would just pick one of them to focus on. Well, you got the dumbest one. The sword hero was active and powerful. The spear hero was valued and protected his friends. And the bow hero would never tolerate injustice. Justice! All the heroes are good people with great personalities. There aren't many stories like these days. You know, where all the kind of star characters share the protagonist spotlight. What's this? The story of Sauce and the Sith to talk about the stealth hero. Huh? I turned the page and let out a voluntarily yelp. Probably like that. All the pages after the introduction of the stealth hero were blank. Well, just keep writing then, don't you? Don't put your name in there, you might copy it in 15 minutes. I kept flipping, looking for them over, but they're all blank, white pages. There was nothing else in the book. What the heck? I was thinking how strange it was when I started to feel dizzy. Huh? What? I heard my own bewildered whisper. I felt my constant slip away. I'd never dreamed I'd be transported to another world. Whoa! And next chapter. That was a quick chapter, actually. This home still. Oh, there you go. Chapter 2. The Heroes! You need a hero! Oh, wow. I heard the sound of people marvelling at something and suddenly was awake again. My eyes weren't ready to focus on anything and I pointed them straight ahead anyway. There were men in the robes looking at me in awe. Oh god, they're about to be bum raped. Shit, run away! Then they threw me. The boy not wearing anything underneath, run! And apparently speechless. I mean, you Japanese too, nothing to be proud about if you're naked. Just saying. What's all this? I turned in the direction of the voice and discovered 3 people like myself. They didn't seem to know what was going on. I scratched my head, as you do. I've been in the library only months before this, but then, why and where was I? I flipped my head left and right, so if I was like that, that'd make you dizzy. That'd make you dizzy indeed, didn't it? Oof. I found out I was in a room. Who do you think you were? The walls are made of stone, is what they call that brick. Regardless, I don't think it was anywhere I've been before, and it certainly was not in the library. Boy, you ain't in Kansas anymore. I looked at the floor. It was covered in geometric patterns that had been painted in some sort of fluorescent material. There was also an altar of some kind. It looked like something magical, straight out of fantasy. We were standing at the altar. Wait a second, why was I holding a shield? Yeah, why would I be holding a shield? They shook. I was Captain America. I was holding a shield that was feather light and it fit my hand perfectly. I couldn't figure out why I was holding it though, so I went to put it down and found I was unable to do so. It was like it was stuck to me. Where are we? Just as I was wondering the same thing, the man next to me, the one carrying the sword, asked the men in robes. Oh, yeah, that is kind of his voice. The sword hero is a bit silent, but edgy type. Motiyasu is a bit of a dick anyway, so he's, yeah, talks like that. And Itsuki, I've got the steel hero's name, but Itsuki is a bit of a div anyway. Sounds like the Riddler. Oh, heroes, please save our world. What? 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 The 4 of us shouted in unison. What is this supposed to mean? but the appeal of the roadman sounded familiar, like something I read on the internet. Sounded weird, but right. There are many complications in this situation, but offer a simple answer to your question. We just had completed an ancient ceremony and summoned you 4 heroes. Summoned? Nani? Yes, that was it. That was a really good chance. That was all some prank, but I've seen nothing wrong with hearing them out. Besides, it's more fun to be pranked than to be pranked someone else anyway. I don't mind that sort of thing. I think it's fun. Okay? Our world teaches on the brink of destruction, heroes. Please lend us your strength, said the roadmen, bowing very deeply to us. Well, it wouldn't hurt to. I began to reply, but the other 3 guys spoke up quickly. I don't think so. Yeah, me neither. We can get back to our world, right? We don't want to talk about our problems after that. What? Did they think it was okay to speak to someone like that? Someone that was bound to us out of desperation? Well, there are 3 arseholes, by the way. Why couldn't I save their conclusion until after they heard the bulk of the situation? I glanced at them in silence, and soon 3 of them were looking me over. What were they smiling about? We all could feel the room growing tense. Yeah, very tense indeed. Very tense. What jerks? I bet they were actually happy to be there. Think about it, it was all true. They get the chance to have adventures in another world. It'll be a dream come true. Sure, it's a cliche, but still, can we at least hear them out? The guy with a sword looked at me. It might have been the high school. He pointed his sword at the roadman and then he shouted, "Do you feel any guilt for calling people into your world without their permission? Besides, the guy with the bow and arrows, even if we save and bring peace to your world, we'll just send us back home, right?" That sounds like a job for me. It was glaring at the roadmen. I wonder how much you consider our opinion on this. I wonder if it would be worth a while, depending on how the conversation goes. Keep in mind we might end up enemies in your world. There's the 3 heroes. You got Nafumi, you got Buckboy, you got no somewhat likeable one, well we likeable, but yeah, between the other 3, and the likeable one, and we got this deuce here. Got rid of people, got rid of someone because he was outdoing them. Seriously. So that's how it was. That's what they wanted. This is what they're trying to figure out to stand in demand a reward. Well, they were certainly outspoken, confident bunch. I felt like I was somehow losing to them. Yes, well, we're ready to speak with the king. He will discuss future conversation with you in the throne room. One of the roadmen, apparently the leader, leaned against a very heavy-looking door until it opened, at which point he pointed the direction to where we would go. Whatever, fine. I don't think it really matters who we talk to, but whatever. My outspoken companions complained as they left the room. Why would you complain, honestly? Get out the cute girl, you know. Left the room in the direction indirected. I didn't want to be left alone, so I followed them out. We walked out of a darkened room down the hallway made of stone. How shall I describe it all? The air felt fresh. I can't think of any other words for it. Vocabulary has never been my strong suit. But again, you read books and stuff, so it should be. We were able to still glance through a window. The scenery took our breath away. Well, blow me down. Oof. Not like that. The clouds were high in the sky, as high as you can see. High as you in a bit if you go up to one of you. There below us, a town spread out from the building we were in. All the houses lined up pretty, just like one of those European cities you see featured in a travel brochure. That probably is a European city, actually. I wanted to pause for a minute and take it all in, but there was no time. We hurried past the window and down the hall, and soon we arrived in the throne room. So these are the kids of the 4 holy heroes. An opponent looking older man who's trash on the throne. He leaned forward as he spoke. He didn't make a good impression on me. I just can't stand people who condescend. Well, okay. My name is Ultra Meldemark. Wherever that is, 2000 something. And I rule these lands. No, you don't. It's your wife. Heroes, show me your faces. I almost yelled at him to shut up, but I caught myself just in time. Yeah, you would make a good person, wouldn't you? I guess he was in the position of authority and seemed to be a king of sort. Yeah, he just called himself a king and he thought he ruled his land. You don't say, Nafumi. Now then, I'll begin with an explanation. This country, no, this whole world is on the brink of destruction. Seems like a rather regal introduction. The other guys with me spoke up. Well, I guess that makes sense because you call for us for another world. Yeah, figures. I've tried to summarise the king's story. There was a prophecy about the end of the world. Many waves will appear and they would wash over the world. Wash again and again. Will there be a red wave though? And by the time this is up, hooray for the Democrats and hooray for the Republicans whoever wins. The same. I'm not we were on Twitter that day on Wednesday, so that's why they're complaining. And it will wash over again and again until nothing remains. Unless the waves were repelled and their accompanying calamities avoided. The world was doomed, I say, destroy us all. Pardon me. That's a pizza for dinner. I don't know why I'm not a bit digesty. The prophecy was from long ago, through the time it was spoken was now. This very moment there was a large and ancient hourglass that would signal the times. The hourglass predicted the arrival of the waves, and the sand began to fall 1 month ago. According to legend, the waves were coming around one-time intervals. I think there was just waves that you just ride on and no monsters. Be utterly confused, wouldn't they? Bicabangabo, yeah! In the beginning, the citizens of the land mocked the legends. However, when the sands in hourglass began to fall, a great calamity visited the land. A fissure opened in the country Malmamak. A fissure to another dimension. Terror and terrifying horrible creatures crawled out from it in great numbers. It was full of monster girls, and we liked it. At the time, the country's knights and adventurers were able to repel the advance of the creatures, but the next wave prophesied was even more terrible. At this rate, the country was doomed, having no way to ward off the impending disaster. This was in a situation nearly hopeless. The kingdom decided to summon heroes from another world. Oh, that better sums it up. Oh, by the way, it seems like the legendary weapons enabled us to understand the language of the world. Alright, said one of my companions. I think we understand where you're coming from, but does that mean you are basically commanding us to help you? Seems all fine and good for you. I agree, all this sounds pretty self-centered to me, but what? If your world is on the road to destruction, just let it burn. I don't see what else to do with us. And these 3 of the heroes he summoned? Lovely chaps, aren't they? Again, they're probably just summoned there and they're annoyed. I could tell by the condescending giggle he struck at the holidays. He secretly thought this was all really cool. Well, it was my turn to speak up next. As I said, we don't have responsibility to help you if you dedicate our time and lives of being beasts to your kingdom. Do we get anything besides a thanks to see you later? Yeah, okay, thanks, goodbye. I mean, I guess what I'm willing to know is there a way for us to get home. Could you tell me anything about that? The king shot his vassal a sidelong glance. Of course you are planning to compensate him for your efforts. The heroes, including myself, pumped our fists in celebration. Yes, please, when the negotiations is complete. There are negotiations are short. Don't know why I tried to say that. I sound like Joe Biden there. Naturally continuing the king, I made arrangements for you to support. Oh, there you go. I made arrangements for you to export, use financing, and also to provide you with all you may require. And thanks to your efforts for our behalf. Oh yeah? Cool, as long as you promise that, I don't think there'll be a problem. Didn't think you brought us off, as long as we aren't enemies, I'll help him out though. Agreed, me too. Well, why do they all have to act so surprised for beer all the time? Because they're trying to be sound cool, aren't they? Obviously. Think about where we are. Do we really want to make an enemy of the king? Yes we do, he's trash. Still, I guess it was a good idea to get all the peculiars out of the way in advance rather than just losing everything down the road. Very well then, heroes. Tell us your names. Wait a second, I just noticed something. Doesn't all this sound similar to the book I've been reading in the library? The records of the 4 holy weapons. A sword, spear, bow, and yes, a shield. Even the 4 heroes were the same. Could I have somehow got on board with the world of that book? Do they all know that was a book? Probably. I don't know. I was starting to mull these things over when the kid with the sword hero stepped forward and introduced himself. His name is Ren. Itsuki Motoyasu Afumi and Ren. My name is Ren Amaki. I'm 16 years old and a high school student. The sword hero Ren Amaki, he was an attractive young guy. Okay, you me? They all look attractive, you anime boys, so... Literally look like, apart from the Itsuki, you all look like a boy band, honestly. His face was handsome and he was relatively short, maybe 160 centimeters if he cross-dressed. That's a weird thought, if you me, but alright. You're mistaken for a girl in an instant. His face was also composed, his hair was black and cut short. I think he's someone from Naruto, I don't know. His eyes were sharp and his skin was white. Okay, never mind. Overall, he gave off a cool impression, like a quick, slender swordsman. Alright, I'll go next. My name is Motoyasu Kitamoto. I'm 21 and a college student. The spear hero Motoyasu, fuckboy, he came off as light-hearted and kind, something like his older brother. His face was at least as well kept as Ren's. The type of guy who had to have a girlfriend or two. And probably missed about a lot as well. It was probably around 170 centimeters. His hair was pulled back into a ponytail. I don't normally like ponytails on men. Okay, it's a weird thing to say. But it seemed to suit him. Overall, he seemed like a caring older brother. Famous last words. Okay, my turn. I'm Itsuki Kasasumi. I'm 17 and still in high school. The bow hero, Itsuki Kasasumi, he looked like a calm, piano playing soft type of character. Okay. How to explain it? He seemed vain and yet at the same time he had some unrivaled strength there. Something indefinite about him, something vague. He was the shortest among us, probably somewhere around 155 centimeters. His hairstyle was slightly wavy as it had been permed. Oof. He was like a soft-spoken younger brother. In the second season, I hope you all get together and do these wave things, or else it could be arguing the whole season again. That'd be annoying. Apparently we're all Japanese, you know, but he's pretty surprised to see a foreigner here anyway. Not really a foreigner, okay. Oh, my turn already? I guess I'm last. My name is Nafumi Yatwani. I'm 20 years old and a college student. The king looked at me condescendingly. I felt goosebumps crawl up and down my spine. Now then, Ren Motoyasu Itsuki, correct? All the shade from the trash itself. Your Grace, you've forgotten me? Oh yes, pardon, Mr. Nafumi. So the old guy is a little slow on the uptake, but you know, I was still feeling somehow out of place among them there. Now if you got to include being such a short list. Oh, you're about to aim for a big one, if Nafumi, you're in for a big one. Now then, heroes, please confirm your status and give yourself the objective evaluation. Huh? What do you mean by status? Excuse me, how are we supposed to evaluate ourselves? Asked Itsuki. Ren sighed loudly. Oh, you couldn't be bothered to explain it to us. You mean you had to say you all figured it out yet? Didn't you realise the moment you arrived here? Oh come on, he just knew everything, wasn't it? Guess he was some kind of genius. I mean, he went on, haven't you noticed any weird icons hanging out in your peripheral vision? Huh? As soon as he mentioned it, if you looked off radio and focused on the soft edges of your field of vision, there are a lot of marks there, I can see them too. But all know they're in a book and a video game? The people who live here are a bit not noticeable, are they? They're all NPCs, that's why. Just focus your mind on the icon. I did and heard a soft beep. Beep boop beep 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 boop boop beep. Just as like I was sitting in front of a computer and the icon expanded to take over my field of vision. It's like operating an internet browser. Nafumi Atwani, class, shield hero level 1. Equipment, short shield, a legendary weapon. Otherworld clothes, skills none, magic none, sex appeal none. There's still quite a few things listed, but I'll start to ignore them for the moment. So this is the king meant by status. Well, what the hell is this? It's all fellows in the game. Level 1? That makes me nervous. Good point, and this way I all know over the fire at all. What is all this? Do these things even exist in the world? Oh heroes, you experience the status magic. Everyone in this world can use and see it. Really? I was amazed how normal everyone would seem to think it was. This numerical expression of your physical body, and what we're supposed to do? These numbers seem awfully low. Yes, well, you need to get on a journey to polish your abilities to strengthen the legend weapons you possess. Strengthen them? You mean those things that aren't strong right for the get-go? That is correct. The summoned heroes must raise their legendary weapons by themselves. That is how they grow strong. I want my boys to be strong. Well, anyway. Oh, there we go, there. Mochiaso was spinning his spear and thinking, why don't we use different weapons while these ones are bulking up? Seems smart to me. Ah, big brain time. I did seem like a good idea, and besides, I was stuck with it still, knowing the weapon in its own right. I better get another weapon. Read and cutting clearly, we can work that out later on. Right now, we should focus on proving ourselves, just like the king asked us to do. It was so exciting. We were heroes summoned from another world. It felt like a manga, but any otaku worth his salt would jump at the chance like this. My heart was pounding to the chest. My heart was pounding. And I couldn't get myself to calm down. Didn't act like that in the solo, did you? Alright. It looked like the other heroes around me felt the same way. All the other heroes were also otakus too. Thinking about it. I know Mochiaso's attraction to young girls was a bit weird, but you know. Are we going to throw a party, the four of us? Wait just a moment, heroes. Just as we were prepared to set out our adventure, the king spoke again. The four of you should set up separately to recruit your own companions. Why is that? According to the legends, he began, the legendary weapons you possess will interfere with one another should you form a party. Both your weapons and yourself can only grow when you are apart from another. I don't understand that at all, but if you stay together you can't level up, right? Huh? Everyone found instructions near the weapons, began to read it at the same time. Attention! The legendary weapons and their owners will experience adverse effects if they fight together. Caution! If it is preferable that the heroes and weapons are used individually. But if you're leveled up enough, you can actually fight together. So, use your brain. Modern problems require modern solutions. I guess it's true then. But why did it all sound so much like a game? It was like I've been transported into a game. Anyway, games don't feel this real, and there are real humans living here. Oh, time to get your knife out and stab everyone. So I guess it was still really one of a kind or another. Still, the system reminded me of a game nonetheless. The instructions on the weapons went on at a great length and detail, but there wasn't enough time to read them, so let's read them right then. So you think we should try and form our own parties? I'll attempt to secure travel companions for you all. Regardless, evening draws near, hero. You should rest of the night and prepare for departure on the morrow, or tomorrow as he says. In the meantime, I'll find companions for you from the villages below. Thank you very much, thanks. We found the king and retire for the room for the night. Oh yeah. Next one then. How long is this then? I think we did this one and we end it for today because I don't know how long we're reading for. I thought the first chapter was seems short, but this is what we saw anyway, so yeah. Chapter 3, Heroic Discussion. There are all-night beds prepared for us in the pre-uploaded chamber. Everyone was just sitting on them, cloudily expecting their weapons and letting their vision draft expectantly to check on their status screens. I glanced at the window, only to find out the sun had set long ago. This goes to show how much time we spent reading the instructions. Ooh, we've been reading too much. Okay, let's see here. Legendary weapon required no maintenance at all. That makes sense. At least Nintendo should get that with Breath of the Wild 2. They were powerful enough and sturdy enough on their own. The material, the weapons were constructed of reacts to the level of the hero who wields them. And any slain monsters were recorded in something called a weapon book. Alrighty then. The weapon book was something that apparently kept a list of forms the legendary weapon was capable of transforming into. There was a weapon book for my own shield that could be viewed from the weapon icon I opened it. Whip. Okay, that was clearly by my stew, wasn't it? It said cool whip, cool whip, cool whip. Something like that. The border of the window clearly expanded to fill my vision. To fill my field of vision, it was filled with rows and rows of weapon icons. It appeared as none of them were currently available for upgrades, huh? Would you believe it looks like a certain weapon can be set and improved on, growing more powerful over time. More powerful over time. Got it, it was just like the way that skills and weapons are leveled up in online games. It said that in order to learn skills, the powers hidden in weapons we had to set loose. It really did sound like a game of sort. Got it. Let them loose, boy. Oh. Hey, is this just a game, don't you think? Look like the other guys are reading over the Hope Messages too. One of them responded to my question. Like a game? I think it might be a game. I know games are just like this, said Mochiyasu, bristling with the air of conceit. Huh? Yeah, it's pretty much a famous online game. Haven't you heard of it? No, and I'm a pretty hardcore otaku. You never heard of it, Nafumi? It's called Emerald Online. Played by all the Irish. Never heard of it. What is it? Nafumi, have you played an online game before? It's famous. No, I only play stuff like Odin Online or Fantasy Moon Online, which is playing a Fantasy Star Online, innit? Pretty sure. They're pretty famous too. Huh? I never heard of them. Must be minor titles or something. Huh? Huh? I don't know what you're referring to. There's definitely an on game. It's more like a console game. Mochiyasu, Itsuki, you're both wrong on this one. If anything, it's a VR MMO. What? VR MMO? No way. If you suppose for the moment that we're an online game, it still must be sort of controlled by a mouse or a controller. Ren looked confused by Miss Mochiyasu's fury. We never get to the end of it. I mean, you can't read anymore. Ren looked confused by Mochiyasu's theory. He jumped into conversation. A mouse? A controller? What kind of antique games are you talking about here? These days, all games VR MMO? VR MMO? I guess you mean virtual reality MMO? Cut the sci-fi crap, you know tech isn't really stuff like that. Huh? Then he shouted in surprise. Thinking back on it, it was one of us to figure out how to use a status magic. It kind of seemed like know what he was doing. He might have known what we was letting on. Excuse me? You all seem like this like the game you know. Can I ask what the names of these games are? Itsuki raised his hand and answered quickly. Brave Star Online, Emerald Online. I spoke up next. I don't know, I mean, are we in a game world? I never thought it seemed a bit like a game, but we could really arrive in a game and never heard of. I see, as my opinion, this reminds me of the console game called Dimension Wave. Oh wow, that's a game, so Dimension Wave. Sounds good, doesn't it? I'll totally buy 7 copies of that. Wink wink, Resident Evil 4. And we all seem to think the world represented a different game. Wait a second, let's try to collect what we know for sure. Mochiyasu rested his head on hands and tried to calm us down. Ren, this VRM you speak of means like we said, correct? Yeah. Pardon me. Yeah. Itsuki, Nafumi, you guys understand what he means, right? I think it sounds like a game of science fiction, but yes, I think I have read something like that in a novel once. Fair enough. That's all about I think of it too, okay? Ren, the game you mentioned, Bracer Online, is that a VMR too? Alright, the VMR I play is called Bracer Online. The world felt very similar to this one. Oof. Considering Ren, the way Ren speaks of it, it seems like this VR MMO was ordinary technology for him. Ordinary technology for him? Boy oh boy, he's in the world of Ready Player One, isn't he? It sounded like computers could read the user's brainwaves. Oh great, Elon Musk. Could be Elon Musk or Google trying to take over your brain. And allow the user to dive into the computer world directly. Okay fine, well if that's true Ren, in the world you come from, do you have any games similar to the ones we have mentioned, like maybe in the past? Ren shook his head. Just so you know, I consider myself pretty well versed in the history of games where I'm from. I've never heard anything like that what you're talking about, but the games you are talking about, right, you all consider them relatively well-known titles, right? Mochiyasu and I agreed. Not an agreement. If we know anything about the online games, what we thought all we did, it seemed impossible that we wouldn't know anything about the games we were mentioning. Even if for the time being we grant that we're not well versed in online games as we mentioned ourselves to be. We all thought we were mentioning famous games, how could we go so wrong? Reading that, mentioning famous games, blah 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 blah. Alright then, let's start with the common sense questions. You can all name the current Prime Minister, right? So, sir. Okay, let's take out the same time. Gulp. Masuta Yata, Kotara Yaka, Enchi Kodaka, Shinkyo Ichifuti. You all felt silent. Better silent and the silent goes silence. Silence, Doctor! Anyway. I never heard of the other names, not in history books. We went on to complete unknowledge of internet terms, famous internet sites and famous games. None of our examples matched up. In the end, we didn't see any references at all. It kind of seems like we all came from a different Japans. Yes, I think I remember this. Motoyasu, Nafumi, Itsuki and Ren up in places with parallel universes of different dimensions, I believe, aren't they? Yeah, probably. It does seem that way. I can't certainly imagine how we could be from the same place. I guess that means there was a Japan in all of our parallel worlds. First I thought we could be just from different time periods, but none of our experiences match up, so that can't be it. Yeah, imagine a VR MMO in the 1500 Japan. Makes sense. Even at that, we all had one thing in common. We were otaku. Weirdly. That had to mean something. In that case, it seems like we're all brought here for different reasons and in different ways. I'm not really into having useless conversations. Do we really have to think these things in common anyway? Ren spoke up as she was the coolest person in the room. Yes, the thing still seemed like Sasuke, didn't they? I wanted everyone to know it. I was on my way home from school when I hit a spot of bad luck. And I got caught up in a murder case. There was a talk of the town at the time. You saw your brother kill, your family, your clan, no, like one thing. I was with a good friend. I remember saving him. I remember getting arrested. Ren was rubbing his side softly as he spoke. I wanted to poke fun at him. I don't know why he would. What kind of hero do you think it was all that with saving his best friend and all that? Managed to keep my thoughts to myself. I suppose he was saying he caught the bad guy, but then he was stabbed in the side during the struggle. Oof. Wasn't Rimuru, was it? Probably. No. He kind of looked like the kind of guy that boasts about things that never happened. Yeah, the people you know in school. I honestly wanted to look far and away as untrustworthy, and yet it was one of the heroes summoned here. The least I could do was hear him out. Anyway, so then, before I knew it, I woke up here. You woke up here? So you were stabbed, so presumably you were stabbed, I think I read that right. And you woke up here. Well, I think you died, unlike the others. You literally did the reincarnated the slime way, honestly. Makes sense, pretty cool you just, isn't it, saving your best friend and all. Yeah, that's maybe too similar to slime. Anyway, he responded to my compliment with more thoughtfulness. Fine then, I guess I'm next, said Motoyasu, lightly pointing to himself. I guess I'm next. I have, well, put it simply, I have quite a few girlfriends. Frog boy. I'm sure you do. Something about seeing like a 4-foot older brother gave off the impression of being popular with girls. And well, you had too many at once and they stabbed you or something, Ben said, laughing to himself. Motoyasu snapped his eyes in as far as and nodded. Yeah, well, okay, 2 have probably died then. I only knew that about Motoyasu, didn't know he was stabbed. Yeah, well, women are terrifying. Oof. God damn it, I took no time to disguise my anger and found myself flickering them off. You could die for all I cared. Oh well, I suppose you already had. Is that how they got here? So 2 are dead. Nafumi got here for a book. Okie dokie. But wait, Nusuke placed his hand over his arm and began to speak. Now it's my turn. I was on my way home from prep school. I went across the road, but a dump truck came screaming across the car, right at the corner at full speed, and then we all fell to silence again. So he was almost certainly hit by a truck. Truck-coon! So Truck-coon stabbed twice. 2 stabbings. And the book. Oh well, that makes sense. It's a sad way to go, but wait. Wasn't an outlier in this situation? Do we ought to talk about this how we got here? Yes, we already have. I guess well, sorry everyone, I was at the library flipping through a book I'd never seen before I knew I woke up here. Again, silence. Yep, you haven't died, so well done. They were staring at me, cold as ice. Cold as ice. What killed the dinosaurs? The ice age! Anyway, what's that supposed to mean? Do I have to come here under miserable circumstances as part of the group? Oof. The 3 of them started whispering among themselves so I can hear what they're saying. Yeah, but he has a shield. I knew it, Motoyasu. You too? Yeah, I started to feel like they were making fun of me. It was time for a change of subject. Alright, it's fair to assume they're all pretty good idea how the system in this world works. Sure. Done as 1,000 times. I can give it well done. Well, there you have it. But wait, am I the only amateur here? This sucks. Well, maybe you guys could tease me one night we had the fun as well. There were no games like this where I'm from. Ren now desires and glared at me. Again, ice cold for whatever reason. Mochiyasu and Itsuki were looking at me with kindness. Do you think they can't see it, but I think they're trying to play around with you, that's all. Alright then, your big brother Mochiyasu will do the best as he can. Teach you the basics. He sounded fake with a big ass smile on his face. Soon his hand was on my shoulder and he was talking away. First of all, I only talk about the game I know, Emerald Online. But you're a shielder, basically. Your job is to shield and protect people. In the beginning, your defense is super high, which is great and all, but when you go up in levels, the damage you start to take gets a little unbalanced. Yes, that came to fear me. There are no high level shielders at high levels. It's a useless class. No! That was not what I wanted to hear. What was the death report? Yep, shield stuff terrible. All I wanted to say that I was doomed. Because when I play Skyrim, I use a sword and magic in one hand. Fire, set on a light and cut their head off. That's what you do. What about the updates? Was there no updates like the balance out my class? Nope, because the game system and because of the game's population, the class was pretty banded early on. Ouch. It's really no good for much. I think they plan to delete the class altogether. Ooh. And I guess I can't change jobs. Well, there's certain jobs and all. How to put it? Dead. And I can't change. Now the game though let you switch to another job tree. Well, that game's shit, innit? Emerald Online is a bit poo-poo. What? Was I really stuck with the worst job in the game? I was staring at myself with my hands and thinking, was my future really so gloomy? What do you guys think? I asked, turned to Ren and Itsuki. They both turned away from me. Sorry, I feel the same. No, we were just stuck with short straw dwelling on this. Wednesday, when I saw all three of them in the corner of my yard, they were all deep in conversation about the game. Well, about the geography. Yes, the geography. How does the conversation work? Probably. I got to go here. Oh, got last bit here. The names are different, but the map seems to be the same. If the map is the same, there's a high probability that the person with fists and monsters is the same also. Yep, nerd stuff, because I don't know. The best hunting grounds will be different for each weapon. Probably best to make sure we go to different places. True, but we need to focus on efficiency, you know? How to make things work with money. Did they all know about the game to figure out how to cheat? It's hard to look that way, but here's what, if my class is so weak, I could just depend on them to support me. There are ways to do it, but even if I were weak, fighting with the party would get me experience to level up. You need a good party to do that. Well, you do want to get a bird and a raccoon. Raccoon girl and a bird girl. Raccoon girl's better though, you know. What is another world? There's not opportunity to fight with your brothers to deepen your bond. That's not how it's supposed to work, right? Now, if there was a girl to him up in the party, yes, you know, things are perfect, wouldn't they? All they would be. If I was a shielder, that wouldn't do the fighting. It would just protect my teammates, right? I didn't really have a chance to meet any girls back in my world. Well, all Japanese girls are like anime anyway, so you would have. But things might be different here. Well, it'll be fine. I mean, we're in a whole new world. Even if I'm not the strongest character, I'm sure something will work out. They looked at me as they were looking at something pitiful. Well, at least I thought that's how they were looking at me. If I let it bother me, I'd be doomed before we get started. Besides, I was quick to defend, and this wasn't a game. Boy, this ain't no game. It's blood games. I could just get rid of my First of Steel and get a weapon instead. Don't think how that works, but alright. Alright, let's do this. Also, wasn't the fifth character added to the story? Magic's a weapon. Your shield, sword, spear, bow and magic. Bit odd that wasn't added, but you know. If I did that probably I'd be doomed before these get started. Besides, at least I was equipped to defend. That wasn't a game. I could just give them my Still Shield and get a weapon instead. Alright, let's do this! I forced myself to show some gumption. Yeah, let's do it! Let's die already, yeah! Heroes, we have prepared a meal for you. We know it's probably super late by now. What's that? Looks like we're going to get a nice dinner. Nice! We opened the door and the attendant guided us to the night's dining hall for dinner. It was like someone out of a fantasy movie. The dining hall of a great castle. There was a large table in the centre. laid out like a buffet with all sorts of food. Everyone, please eat whatever you like. What, I guess we're eating with the castle knights? Ren mumbled to himself. How could someone complain about a dinner like this? Damn, he was rude. Really? Castle knights? Castle knights is castle knights, ain't that great, honest? You misunderstand, this food has been prepared for you. The knights will not be permitted to enter until you had your fill, said the attendant. I looked around the room only to find the boisterous crowd we assumed were other diners who were, as he compares, of safety of cooks. So the diners are cooks? Okay, so they'll be cooking. Cook, you bastards! The lamb sauce, where is it? I suppose this is meant to imply that all four of us were higher priority in the castle knights. Well, you are, because you're the last line of defence. Thank you, let's eat then. Yeah, right on! So we began to dine on the food in this new world. The culinary sensibilities were not what I used to, but it was certainly not disgusting. That's a polite way to put it. There was not anything I was able to stomach. And yet something that looked like an omelette tasted like more oranges. Yeah, the omelette that tastes like an orange. And many of the dishes combined flavours are never together where I was from. Yeah, weird place for a medieval world, isn't it, to do that? We finished eating and found ourselves growing sleepy on the way back to our rooms. Think they have a bath? Well, it looks like the Middle Ages around there. They might have a bathtub though. Don't know, you probably don't need one. Get the man smells out. If you don't request it, I doubt they will provide one. I guess they can let it go for one day. Yeah, you only got Scott here, let it go for one day. You can always miss one day of showering, or maybe 6 probably. Yeah, I'm getting tired, the adventures start tomorrow. Better get a good night's sleep. Everyone nodded in agreement, so much Yossi's suggestion, and then we went to our beds. The 4 of us, including me. We're also excited for the next day to come. Still, we fell asleep very quickly. Our adventure began the next day. And we ended it there. Yep. That is probably the show over now. Yeah, so we continue on left time, so in the next chapter is where he gets betrayed. So yeah. Also, I'm reviewing this next year too, and dialing his ranks and everything else, so yeah, so also if you want to suggest any other light novels or comics or mangas, just leave in the comments. So yeah. So we get into that then. So if you enjoyed this reading light novel episode and want more, don't forget to run the like this and smash the like button, boys. Stay spooky. Doodle!